The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have the lovely lady. It's our sequel of, I think that's the right term. And she's going to be talking to us about her writing skills, her journalistic skills. I'm sure she's going to correct me in her right title, what she does today. So nice to have you here today, Gabie.
Thank you.
So Gabie, tell us, what is your official title when it comes to this writing, and what do you write about and why?
So I am a health content editor, and I write about different aspects of health and wellness, everything from lifestyle to food, nutrition, yoga, meditation, all that lovely jazz.
Okay, so I assume that takes a lot of research.
Yes, definitely does.
Where do you get your research from? How do you vet the research? Is it stuff that you try and see if it works, and you write an article?
So I'm a big fan of Google Scholar, and I'll often be on Google Scholar when I'm writing an article, and I essentially just look for well-respected, well-known publications, scientific publications and journals, and try and look for similarities between data and research, and also interpreting what the research is and where it comes from. If a study has been paid for by a company, then that's always going to have some kind of a bias, so it's important to consider when researching. That's
a very interesting point of view. I like the fact you acknowledge that, because it shows that you actually can acknowledge that there is an element of, you could say, corruption when it comes to these nutritions and things like that. What motivates you why you do this? Because you have a love for all things health and fitness. So what motivates you?
I think that I personally just found a lot of relief from my own mental health issues with food and food relationship, and the more I researched into nutrition and health, the more I felt like I could take control in a healthier way of my diet and my body image, and that's just something that's always stayed with me. And something that the health and wellness industry, it has so many, what's the word? It's almost like there's a very, very big bridge between people who just are normal people living their lives and who don't have a passion for health and wellness but still deserve to live healthy lives. And then the health and wellness industry, which feels very tailored towards people who do have that interest and who do like doing that research, and it just feels like there's a very big bridge that should be more approachable to everyone as a topic. And there are so many different truths in health and wellness, and to boil a research like journal down to one headline that's very clickable for people, it's easy for the information to become a bit distorted. And there are so many truths. I mean, coffee, for example, like if someone were to say coffee's really good for you, and then someone were to say coffee's really bad for you, well, both of those statements can be true, but it just depends on the person and if they have a particular digestive enzyme that can digest caffeine and coffee. People who have that, coffee can be healthy for them and actually good for them. People who don't have it, coffee can be bad for them. So it's I really enjoy trying to dispel some of the myths and oversimplifications of nutrition and health and wellness.
That brings up some questions there, and it's on a personal scale. I don't drink coffee. I think it tastes disgusting.
Fair.
But I drink it when I need to stay awake. So if I know I need to earn extra money, I'm going to be working a long shift doing this driving, I drink coffee and I know I'm going to be awake for the next 20 odd hours. I don't understand the difference between decaf and caf, or whatever you call it. But then I also understand about hydration. I used to be in the military, and they always tell you, you need to make sure your urine's more or less clear and you're hydrated. But when you drink coffee, it just goes kind of brown, like a pub, excuse the graphic detail, but it just looks unhealthy.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm looking at is you're speaking about, can your body digest coffee? How would you know if it can, and how would you know if you can't?
So typically, if It's very common for people to experience digestive issues when they drink coffee. So might have diarrhea if they drink coffee. And so that could be a signal that actually coffee is not something that particular person's body can digest particularly easily. And then other people don't have that issue. And yeah, hydration's a big one as well with coffee.
That makes sense. So if I drink McDonald's hot chocolate or McDonald's coffee, I need to go to the bathroom very quickly. And I thought maybe it was the milk, because McDonald's have like everything's genetically modified. But now I'm starting to think maybe it's a reaction. But then when I drink the Nescafe, I don't get that issue.
It could be the milk. It could be the milk. It could be the coffee. Be the quality of the milk and coffee as well.
Are you vegan, pescatarian, or just a normal?
I'm not. I eat everything. I'm gluten intolerant, but I still try and eat gluten very mindfully.
If people come to you and they say, I'm a vegan, but I want a nutrition plan, do you cover that kind of thing? Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, everyone has different values around food, and I think that that's actually something that can be such a motivating factor in health. If we're really passionate about animal welfare, for example, then that can be really motivating to then look for a different approach of eating, like veganism, or like eating animals that have been raised in a very humane way.
Okay, that's interesting. What have you learnt over this whole time of nutrition, body, mind, soul connection that you wish you knew when you started?
I think I've learnt that it's really important to consider just where everyone is in their individual lives. Like, there's no one rule to living a healthy life. Otherwise everyone would be healthy all the time. And there are so many different approaches, and to find something that works for you is just, it's so personal and it's so unique to that individual. And I kind of wish that I knew that earlier, because I think when I was younger, I was frustrated by health and wellness seemed so complicated, and I just really wanted there to be one approach and one method that just works for everyone in every situation. But the reality is, like, our lives change constantly, and so the methods that work for us today to look after our health could look very, very different in even a year from now, when our lifestyles are different and life happens and unexpected things pop up.
You're talking about vegan, pescatarian, and the saving the planet and things. I used to live in Kenya, and the way they raise their animals, the animals just kind of run around, loads of space, they just do their thing. And it occurred to me that a lot of this vegan, pescatarian kind of thing is really kind of, you could say, a first world problem on the way we raise animals and mass farming, or what do you call it, kind of, what's it, where you box all these animals in.
Yeah.
Would you say that's right? Would you say I'm onto something there?
Absolutely. I think, the way that we eat meat in particular, and again, everyone is different, and the way that people consume meat is so unique to them, and people might have particular budgets to contend with, which doesn't necessarily make purchasing meat that's been raised in a humane way terribly accessible, because it is typically more expensive. But if people can purchase meat that has been, raised in more of a humane way than conventional farming, I think it's nice to consider, especially seeing as, energy kind of transfers. And so if an animal has been raised in a very stressful environment, well, then their bodies and their muscles, and they're in a chronic state of stress. And so that meat's quality is going to be different than an animal who has lived a very happy life. So it can very much impact our health as well, I believe. But again, it depends what people can and can't do with accessibility. Some areas as well, it's just not easy to find meat that has been raised and grass-fed, and
Okay. With the whole change, I understand nutrition and fitness is just very similar. It should be a lifestyle. How do you convince people that this is right for them? Because they come to you, and a lot of people come to you, but they don't really want the answer, or they want an answer but they don't want to do the work. So how do you convince them? Because that's probably like 80% of the battle.
Yeah. It's funny that you say 80% actually, because one of the big things that I personally preach, and I learnt it through my health coaching studies, is if 80% of the time we're able to make food choices that are based around promoting our health and well-being, then 20% of the time we can just purely enjoy food and enjoy life and not stress and not worry. I think working at that 80-20% balance of effort and enjoyment, I think, can be really beneficial for people. It doesn't have to be 100% of the time, and people also don't need to make really dramatic changes overnight. It's actually, I personally find that it's much more approachable to make and much more manageable to make small changes over time. If we can do something consistently, even if that's just, consistently drinking enough water, consistently eating 4 out of our 5 a day. If we're currently eating 3, increasing that to 4 and doing that consistently is amazing. And then once we're comfortably eating 4 of our 5 a day, then maybe we can introduce that extra 1 and make it 5 a day. But I'd say making small changes over time and not putting too much pressure to be perfect. And, people are gonna have foods that aren't necessarily goal supporting or supporting their health, and that's life. That's perfectly fine. And it doesn't mean that we have to give up and that we're, I can't do it, I've ruined my progress. We can always make the next time we make a food choice, it can be a little bit improved.
How do you feel about cheat days? Look at that.
I'm not a fan of the term cheat days. I feel just because I feel like cheat days are just so normal. It's so normal to just, we have to enjoy our food. Food is so much more than just nutrients. We socialize with food, we celebrate with food. So to have food that is just for pure enjoyment and indulgence, and to just enjoy that experience of eating, I think is just so important. And to manage that and to balance it, I think is important too. And yeah, I don't know, I think it's just the term cheat day because it sounds like it's doing something wrong, but in my opinion, having a cheat day is there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. They say the rule is 80% lifestyle, 80% nutrition, 20% lifestyle. But I exercise. I used to be in the military, as I said, and I never noticed that. And maybe because in the military, in a commando unit, you exercise really vigorously. But we ate anything. And we were told, especially in training, you have to have 4 meals a day.
Right.
And one meal was at 9 o'clock at night. The rest of the meals were the normal times. And they were full-on meals.
Yeah.
3 courses, not to mention bits on the side.
Yeah.
And that was a must. You could get charged, fined for that. Have you ever heard of anything like that where it's just all about eating anything and then you just exercise like mad?
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are training in more of a serious way, I imagine in the military, you guys are doing so much training, it's important to get those calories in so that you're replacing the energy that has been used up. And I think people who are training, people who are, athletes, it's important that they really do get enough energy.
Okay, that's good. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube. On Instagram, I'm wholehealth_Gabie, so that's WHOLEHEALTH_GABIE. And if you type in Whole Health Gabie into YouTube, you will find me as well, and you might find a few articles online.
Okay. My last question to you is, you're a busy lady, you've got your nutrition, you've got your yoga, and you're just going forward in things. What does the overall future hold for you?
In can see myself continuing teaching yoga until I'm in my old age and continuing to write. I really enjoy writing and just maybe coaching people in the future. Health coaching is something I'd really love to get into, and working with people one-on-one or in a group setting. Yeah.
Any books? You gonna be writing any books?
Potentially. I would not say no to that.
I think a Whole Gabie book would be a bestseller.
That would be great. That would be great.
Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
And to the audience out there, don't forget to listen to our Africa Investor Stories podcast, our sister podcast, where we interview people from around the world who've invested in Africa, and they share their experiences of what it's really like. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.